I want you to check out these stats. There is a growing risk for colorectal cancer. Researchers say 1 in 23 men, 1 in 26 women will develop colon cancer in their lifetime. It is one of the leading causes of death for men and women under the age of 50. In light of National Colorectal Cancer Month, we want to do our part by spreading awareness and giving you ways that you can reduce your risk. We have Dr. David Hiller from Novant Health talking about colorectal cancer and what you should be doing right now. We're going to address all things colon cancer, screenings, everything you need to know before you head to the doctor. And this is the best part. You get to ask your question to the doctor. The number is 336-379-5775. You get to ask your question anonymously and get your question answered right here live on TV. All right, so Dr. Hiller, let's just kind of start with the beginnings. Like, when is it time for folks to get checked?
Absolutely. So that has recently changed. Most people have kind of had drilled into their head age 50s when you first start getting checked. And that's not sufficient anymore. We're finding more and more polyps and early colon cancers at younger ages. So now for everybody, that age starts at 45 to start getting screened for colon cancer, or sooner if you have family history or other symptoms.
Okay, so how do we kind of prepare for this colonoscopy? Do we go to our regular doctor first and they're gonna say, hey, you need to, go and see another doctor before you do this?
A lot of different ways. So colonoscopy is the best test, the gold standard for screening for colon cancer. And that's done by a gastroenterologist, a colorectal surgeon, some general surgeons, other providers that do this. So different ways to get there. One is ask your primary care provider for a referral to somebody for it. Or you can even call any of our offices up. You can call a gastroenterologist directly, a colorectal surgeon directly to ask about getting screened.
Okay, and so a lot of people would say, yeah, I know that it's 45, but I don't have a family history. I can probably leave that for a little while.
I would say don't do that. The signs of colon cancer a lot of times show up after something's already been there for a while. And the whole point of a colonoscopy and for screening is to find it before it's a problem. And that means before you even know something's a problem. And so the reason these ages are bumping up is we're finding more and more problems and people don't realize it's going on. So it's so important to get checked out so we can stop it before it's even a big issue for you.
Right, because a lot of people don't have any kind of symptoms whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay, and you don't have to have a family history to be diagnosed with it.
Right. A lot of us now, because it's becoming so much more prevalent in America, are going to have family histories. But going back before this recent increase, we would say that maybe 10% of colon cancers are hereditary. So most of these are coming up on their own.
Okay, this is good to know. All right, so when we're talking about the colonoscopy, everybody kind of gets freaked out by the procedure. The procedure itself is really short. It's the prep ahead of time that can be a little bit difficult. What can we expect and what might make it easier?
Yeah. So historically, it used to be this literally giant jug of stuff you had to drink, and that has really gone by the wayside. Very rarely is that need to be used. There are several different options now, and we can talk with you about those based on your history, what's going on, what's going to be best for you. And they're much simpler. I mean, I've had my own. My prep was not a large volume of things to drink. We were able to get through it. And so it's not as bad as experience. Obviously, one wants to do it, but it's not prohibitive. It's something we can all get through so that you can present to your doctor and have an excellent checkup.
Okay, and so you're supposed to drink all this stuff, and you drink it the night before the procedure. Is this something where you need to take the day off of the work for the procedure, but do you need to take the day off for the work the day that you start all of the drinking?
Yeah, I would say when you start the prep, you want to be off work. So, and depending on when your colonoscopy is, that can dictate when you start. So if you have an afternoon procedure, they may have you start later the day before. And so you may not have to take off work. If you have an early morning 8 a.m. colonoscopy, you might be taking off maybe the afternoon before, or you're starting really at the end of the day to get through that. And that's something you can talk with your doctor about as well. But sometimes you might be taking off a little bit early the day before. You want to be off work when you start.
For sure. Okay. All right. So you drink these things to make it okay for you to do the procedure. Someone takes you to the procedure and has to take you home. What other kinds of things should we be watching out for after the appointment?
Yeah. So when you finish, you'll be a little out of it, but you'll come to pretty quickly. And so you'll be given the results, and the person with you, if you want them to hear them, will also be informed. So you can always ask them later, like, what did they say? Do I remember that correctly? And then afterwards, you're just gonna be a little tired, but pretty quickly you'll wake back up. We say don't operate any heavy machinery, don't make any important life decisions that day, but you'll be able to eat, walk around, other than feeling fatigued, you'll be yourself.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then the recommendation then, if you are all fine, is it every 10 years or so that you get another colonoscopy?
Correct. If you're fine, it's going to be 10 years, unless you've got some really significant family history where we want to check you more frequently. But for most of us, that won't be the case, and you'll be given 10 years. If they find just a few polyps, then that can be 5 or 7 years sometimes. And then there's some instances where we say 1 or 3 years, just given the findings that we see at that time.
Okay. We see all these commercials for like the take-home tests and things of that nature. Is that something we should be doing at 45 or something we should be doing before 45?
So that is, I would say, definitely a decision to be made with your doctor, because sometimes those are helpful and sometimes they're not. Those tests aren't perfect. No test is, but the colonoscopy is still the best. Sometimes it's not feasible or it's not the right time to get a colonoscopy, and some of those other tests can come into play. The best test is the one that you're actually going to do. And so it's good that we have other options. But with some of the tests, the take-home tests that you're having to do and send back in, if they're positive, then you need to go get a colonoscopy. And sometimes they can be negative, and it can be a false negative. So knowing how frequently that happens and what to do when you get a positive or a negative is important to have that conversation. And I think that's one part that might get missed. People might get a negative and say, well, that's it, I'm done. But there's some more nuance to that.
Okay, great. All right. So what we want to do is we want you to be able to ask your question. Remember, it is anonymous for you to ask your question. This is your chance to go one-on-one with a doctor and have him answer it. 336-379-5775. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.